All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our open class tonight. I hope you're all excited. We're going to be discussing the key strategies you'll need to know for your kid to really set up a successful learning environment at home. And make sure you sign up for our next event next week. It'll be on the common traps of the SAT. And also, if you'd like to learn more about our foundation courses, don't forget to give us a call at any time. All right, and please give a warm round of applause and thank you to our guests this evening, June Liu.
All right, thank you, Ryan. And
Yep.
hi, everyone. This is June, and I'm going to give you guys some introduction, and also based on a lot of questions was asked these days from the parents. So today's topic will be key success strategies for distance learning, and starting from K to grade 8. And actually, we divide this into two sections. So today, I'm going to talk about a kindergarten to eighth graders. And the next session, I'm going to talk about it for high school students, how to deal with the distance learning. So first, I need to introduce myself a little bit more. And I'm the founder of 7EDU, and I have been working on the distance learning for many years. I would say more than 17 years. So based on the students' age and also different, personality and learning habit, and we divide it into different classes, and we designed, the online courses, trying to focus on individualization plus customized materials. So make sure every student can take out their potential. So I think most of people are trying to, solve one of the challenge, at least one of them these days because of quarantine. And I got many parents ask me question like, should I go back to school in the fall? And if not going back to school, how can I arrange my kids' study? And there's so many online resources and free resources. How can I choose them? And how can I balance my work and my child? Sometimes some parents have more than two children. What they should do? You must see the funny photos online, and the parents tie their kids together on the floor so they're able to work, right? But in the reality, we can't really do that. So we are staying home, working, plus we have, lovely children create many chaoses. Okay, I think that situation most of parents are facing right now. I also being asked by the parents like how to control and manage screen time. Okay, sorry for the typo. I think we last minute changed to the English panel. We thought like there are going to be a lot of Chinese parents join us, so that's why we prepared at beginning it to be a Chinese panel, and then we changed to be last minute since some of the parents told us they want to listen to in the English version. All right. So other than study, how to arrange the extracurriculars and also more, this is some parents' questions. Okay, we put them together. So today I'm going to offer some of the options and especially what we can do and how can we do it. Okay, so this is basically a big topic, and I would like to share some insights and also looking forward to answer the questions from the parents. I would say this is more like a case by case situation, so we want to give the case by case solution. So what can parents do? And that's the big question. So usually I want divide them into six different categories. Okay, and I divide them into six different steps. Actually, there's more options, but because the limited time and because I just want to generally talk about it, what we can do. So basically, you have to combine to get together with your situation and your kid's personality and your own family, the environment. So the first option, like many people have to choose, is attend the school's online classes. And right now, we know most of the public schools they offer online courses, and many of the private schools moved to from on-site to online. And some schools may get a waiver, so they still might open in fall. But from most of the parents, like responses, they concern a lot for the safety. That's why they are really hesitated to send their kids to back to school. So I would say if you can join the school's online classes, that's a good option. But it really depends on the age. For example, if you're kindergarten students or first graders or second graders, it's really hard to let a student sit in front of the screen for a long time. and pretty much you have to sit together with them. So in that situation, a lot of parents say, if I can sit together with my kids, why when I just teach my kids myself, why I have to join some online classes to sit together with my kids? Well, that's true, and that is one of the options. But attend schools online classes is one of the option for most of the parents. But the concern is the online courses from the schools are not really well designed for online purpose. So most of the teachers, they have a great experiences for face-to-face teaching, but it's very different for online teaching. Because when you do face-to-face teaching, it's pretty easy to manage the class, and it's also easy to interact with the students. So you know exactly who is focused and who is not, right? But when you come to online, everybody just show a little window right here. It's like what we're doing right now. So it's really hard for teacher to focus both on the content teaching and the students. So the interaction will be chaos. And actually, I personally joined some of the online classes from the public schools, and because my kids from some of my kids' schools, and I realized that really push the kids to online courses with unexperienced online teachers. That's really a nightmare for me. And I do understand, this is really challenging for most of the teachers, and I do see, how hard the teachers try to, manage the online classrooms and doing all the online stuff. But it just really, the time is really short and the experience is not enough for the teachers to manage the online courses. So if you chose the online courses from the public schools, probably you have to be ready for that. you know this is one of the pros and cons that I'm going to analyze, and probably you can have your own opinion. I would like to hear. We are open to any kind of feedbacks and suggestions, because this is like community, so we have to really support each other to go through this period. So the second option is file private school. Okay, so actually this sounds like really crazy, but actually is workable. So the process is a little bit complicated. You have to really register school, and if not, your kids' school record won't work. It won't count. So it's not really good for your kids, because they have to really go through every grade, like normally, like first grade, second grade. But if you just decided to do the private school, so you have to really register it. Otherwise, you have to choose other options. So let me talk about a little bit for the private school. So we call this PSA. Okay. So for private school, the process is like you don't need to have a teaching certificate. So you can choose your own materials, whatever you want to choose. And also the time is very flexible, so you decide the schedule. But the con is like the process is very long, and you need to prepare a lot of paper, and you have to get a lot of like resources. Basically, they ask you to file an annual private school, and they ask you maintain the attendance register. They ask you give the instruction, and the instruction must be in English, and then the instructor must be capable of teaching, and you have to provide instructions in the course commonly taught in the public school. So you have to be familiar with all the courses like they currently taught in the public schools. And you have to maintain the immunization records of the personal beliefs and exceptions. And also you have to maintain the list of courses of study and blah, blah, blah. All right, so in this situation, I would say most people are not really can't handle this, because maybe after you already filed the private school application, then maybe the school reopened, right? Or maybe the virus is gone, so we are able to send kids back to norm. So that's one of the options. If you decided to make your kids homeschool all the time or forever, or at least two more years, you can consider this option. Number three, option three, I would say enroll your kid in a private school satellite homeschool program. So that's quite different, because you don't need to register private school anymore. So you just need to register as a teacher, right? And then you teach your kids. So most of this kind of situation, the programs are like religion related. For example, Christian school, for example, Catholic school. And here are some schools that you may consider. For example, Fremont Christian School, and they have a California Christian Academy. They have Boston School. They have a Hart Christian Academy. They have a Liberty Christian Academy, Mountain View Private School, Satellite Program. If you search that kind of program, you may find some. So the good part is like, oh, you don't need to get like a lot of paperwork, but the bad part is like you still have to figure out what is good and what is not good. Okay, so you need to be able to tell which program fits your kids better. So option four is hire a certified private tutor, or you become a credentialed tutor yourself. I would say most likely many parents prefer this way, this option. Well, but the thing is, if you want to hire a tutor, a lot of people say like, oh, I want to hire a tutor, and that tutor going to come to my house. I'm going to teach my kids. So that's on site. That's perfect. But I would say they still have the risk because you don't know if the teacher will have not carrying any virus or won't contact with anybody else. So any kind of like face-to-face communication, I would say they increase the risk of getting the virus, right? The most important thing is we don't want to send our kids back to school is because we concern the virus. So if you bring someone to your home, so that have kind of like less risk, but kind of like same, right? So what about doing online? Well, this is one of option too. And some of our parents, they chose the private tutor to do one-on-one online, especially for the younger kids, because they are not really easy to focus, right? They don't have any self discipline. So you need someone to really interact with them live. So you can just either prefer to do online, or maybe the teacher very well, or you yourself to be a qualified teacher, and then you can teach by yourself. So for this situation, sometimes they ask you at least to study 175 days per year and at least 3 hours per day. And I would say this is more like a reachable, right? And at least for now, it's kind of like really practical for most of the parents. So the good part for this is like sometimes we prefer and we suggest to some parents and they can group together. So for example, 2 kids, 3 kids, they group together and they can find their best time, most convenient schedule. And plus, you guys trust each other and you have better communication. And also you can say, oh, if you can, try to find some parents to volunteer. For example, one parent can be one of the teacher, or 2 parents can take turns to take care of their, activities. So that's also a good option. So number 5, use a public school independent study option. So independent study program is kind of like you can apply with a school and then you can just study at home for the short term. But usually it considered to be, short term. It's not like long term. If you're, trying to spend a whole semester at home, so probably this is not one of the option. So the good part is you still have chance to go back to school anytime, and you don't need to have any school record by yourself. But the thing is you need to take the test and you need to meet with the school teachers, based on the schedule. You need to offer your work samples to make sure they know you're on the same track with the schools. And the last but not least is enroll in a public charter school for homeschoolers. So this is kind of like pretty common before COVID-19, I would say. So right now, and everybody trying to do the different way, and a charter school charter homeschool, they don't want to meet teacher, but they say they might have like a once a week meeting, but it just still have the risk. Same like you hire a private tutor, get in your home, that same thing. But compared to go back to school with all the kids together, I would say this option maybe I would say is way easier or safer, right? So this is like different options, and I know some of you guys may have questions. So if you have any question, you can either raise your hand or you can let us know. What is your question? You can type it, and I can answer your question later after I finish my introduction. Okay, so because I still have things to share. So all the 6 options, I would say, is not about like which one is the best. It's all about which one fits your situation better. So most likely for now, my students, they chose the private tutors, they chose some online courses, and they try to plan like homeschooling and group some parents together. This is like most common one. And I do have parents that chose charter schools and then register with public schools, do the ISP, or they register with the private school to do the PSP. Okay. And only right now, only like one parents I heard like they want to register private school because they have more than 4 kids, and probably that's easier or that's kind of like more cost effective for them. So in California, actually, you have more freedom to do the homeschool, and actually, it's just really challenging for the parents because no matter which choice or which option you want to choose for your kids, that's only the first step, right? So next step is like what subject and how you want to, make your schedule and how you want to, balance, being a parent and being a teacher. That's hard, right? Sometimes the kids listen to teacher, they don't listen to parents, right? So if you want to be a teacher at the same time you're the parents, that means you really need to have like high EQ to balance, how to challenge the kids and also control everything. So let's see what is the benefit for staying at home. And actually, I see a lot of videos and a lot of open class. They talk about the bad part of staying at home, of quarantine, and they worry about social skill. They worry about mental health. They worry about the family happiness, right? But for me, I feel like staying at home is the best time for the parents to see how you kids grow. Well, maybe it's really challenging, or maybe you feel like, oh, I just really I don't know anything about teaching, and I kind of like cannot control my kids or cannot educate my kids. They don't listen to me, and now you ask me to teach them, help them do their homework, so I have to fight every day. Well, the thing is, most of the kids when they're in school, they rely on teacher, but every teacher they have a list of more than 20 to 30, sometimes even more, right? So the kids has like very little attention. So that explains a lot of things. Like for example, when the kids get into the higher grade, for example, getting high school, and then you realize that there's some like a study habit issue. For example, they can't really concentrate, right? And then they don't really finish your homework on time, or their reading skill is not as high as you expected, or their writing skill is kind of like they can't really write a good essay, right? So when you realize that, I would say a lot of parents, they would like to find the tutors or find after school classes for them to to make it up. But the thing is, at the very beginning, you just kind of like lost the opportunity to build up their foundation together. So that's why I would say the benefit for homeschool or for like quarantine at home, right? It just kind of like you can make the real individualized learning happen. You can make the real individualized learning happen. So for the small kids, I would say younger kids. So all the different subjects, they're very easy. So I definitely believe it's not really hard for parents to teach. And plus, you can find out what is your kid's learning habit, and then you can fix it at an early stage. And plus, at home, the environment is like more, I would say, pure and safer. So you never need to worry about anything happen to your kids. So I would say it's more secured for the parents, right? But the things we need to pay attention is like homeschool, you really have to find some connections or communities. If you all want to do by your own, I would say it's just really hard because you cannot be that considerate, right? So, for example, you want to find some resources. For example, you want to find some like curriculum, but you don't know if it's fixed or not. You have to spend a lot of time to look into it. So that's why you find some community, find some friends together, and then you work as a team. The other thing is like the parents really worry about is is like what about the schooling? What about the social skill? What about the friends? There are a lot of concerns, right? So I want to offer you guys two useful resources first, and then we can talk about the common concerns. Okay, so one is like online homeschool, and you can go to the k12.com. The other one, they introduce a homeschooling way in California, and you can take a look at it. So if you search the time for learning and also the k12.com, you can find more information regarding homeschooling, which is maybe your option, right? So if you decided to send your kids back to school, or you believe like in fall the school will happen for sure, and I'm definitely going to send my kids to school, and that's a different story. So basically, I'm the one may not send my kids back to school. That's why I'm trying to study a lot for the homeschooling. Plus, I have been working on the online class design and online teaching for more than 17 years. So I definitely believe I can create some better plan for my kids as well. I can share my experience. So they are the recommended online resources for younger kids, and I just give some like a credit based on my experience. So the first part is 7edu online classes, and if you look at a 7edu .org or .online, you can find like there are many small group classes. So for the K2 second grade, we do six students per class, which means the teacher has six students in one classroom, and we still have one TA, which means every three students have one teacher to take care of them. And for the third to five grade, and so that's the same thing. So we offer K to 12 K to 12 classes, and for the younger grade we have K to eighth grade for now. So BPS Kids is one of the kind of like apps for kids to play. I would say it's just only for kindergarten to second grade kids, because they play a lot on there and they have like funny videos. They like it, but it's not really good for their like study. But it's kind of like can occupy a little bit time, so to get them like from being bored. National Geographic Kids, this is one of the good resources that I recommend for a lot of students. So especially for the sixth graders to eighth graders. So basically you can increase your interest to know more knowledge, right? And Epic is one of the good app that I recommend for most of my students and include my kids. They have a very good reading system. And I know a lot of school, they're using this Epic. So basically if you paid for like higher version, and you can reach to different resource of the books, and then they follow the different age, different topics, and basically can track how many books the kids read, and what is the vocabulary level, and how they can accumulate more stories, and that's a great way. Okay, and besides that, you can always ask your kids to tell you the story that they read on Epic. So the other one is like about the math, and the math game I think is pretty fun for the younger kids. So they can use the math game to try to increase their speed when they do like like some math problems, and then they sometimes you have to race together with the dogs. They are one of the puppies, and they have to race together with other puppies, and then the kids usually get very excited because they want to win, right? So they have to do it again, and that's how you want to make them to practice, right? And TED, and actually most people think TED is for adults, and actually I found out like TED has a lot of like useful information for kids. So if you're really kind of like want to introduce to your kids some of the stories, you can watch the TED together with the kids, and especially for the sixth grade to eighth grade, because they start to understand more. For younger grade, I tried with my son who is like 5 years old. It didn't work out because he just not interested at all. And Khan Academy, I feel like is more like for a little bit older, but not like that old. So I'm also going to talk about it when I going to analyze the high school resources, because a lot of high school students they use Khan Academy to do the practice. But I would say for third grade to eighth grade, maybe that's okay, that's great. But if it's like a younger than third grade or older than ninth grade, it is not really helpful that much, because that's a lot of like foundations, and you really want to get your kids like more advanced or more over I would say well-rounded, and Khan Academy is just kind of like not really good. And for the younger kids, less than I would say younger than third grade, you feel like that's too fun, too much fun, which means they pay more attention to the little cat, a little rabbit, and then they ignore what they try to teach. For example, I tried my son with this Khan Academy kids for at least 1 month, but I realized that I couldn't to make him focus or improve at all, because his focus point is all about the little rabbit, a little movement of the rabbit. He can't really pay attention to the numbers or the calculations, or it just cannot. So it's too distracted, I would say. Okay, so here I prepared some of the good online courses examples for all the parents to see. So you can see like what is called good online courses. So the first and very important thing, interaction, because that's the only thing that you want when you choose online courses. Okay. So if the teachers are very good at interacting with the students, that would be considered to be a great teacher. Okay, so let's take this look.
So this guy's normal size, this guy's just super duper tall. All right. And we're talking about our short vowel sounds and our long vowel sounds. All right, quick review. Ruben, give me the short A sound again.
Ah.
There you go. Lawrence, what is the short E sound? What sound does that E make? Touch the microphone, Lawrence. There you go. What sound? There you go. It makes an S sound like Lego my ego. All right, Sebastian, what does that O sound make?
Okay, so this is a short video clip from 7EDU's online classes. And I realized that, the interaction with the kids and their kindergarten level. And that make like, the phonics and all the vowel and how to pronounce it, make it everything like so fun for the kids. And also make sure I'll make sure the kids is always engaged. The other part that I want to introduce a little bit more is one of the other class. So the good part is not only interacting with the students, but also the teacher has to know how to control and how to manage the whole classes, especially the small size. So when you try to choose online classes, make sure the size is small because it's not a school anymore, right? In a school, the kids cannot get enough attention. We know like the attention for kids is kind of like public school worst, right? And not like worst, but just like really least attention. And a private school, better, right? Charter school, even better because the more attention every student get, the easier and also it's better for their growth, right? So let's look at this class. It's like small classes and the teacher managed very well.
Older students sometimes ask questions, but in school, they sometimes always learn how to solve problems by themselves, and they don't need to talk about it to their friends.
Great. Awesome. Good job, Ivy. That was perfect. That was great. You took a challenging topic to defend. You came up with 3 points. You heard what I was saying, and you responded really well. Good job.
Okay. So when you have
Older students.
Okay, let me finish. When you have the teacher, really give the one-on-one attention during the small group class, you will see the kids enjoy the class more. This is one of the big difference, and also is one of the factor you want to consider when you try to choose some online courses. This is a higher level one. Basically, is like critical reading and writing is for sixth grade to eighth grade. So you can see when the kids grow a little bit older, they need less attention, but still they need a live and they need an interaction.
Right. One thing that the author alludes to, yeah, Holly, did you raise your hand?
Sorry, I just wanted to make a comment on the speech.
Yeah.
I kind of think that these 3 paragraphs are talking about ethos, logos, and pathos.
Okay. Yes, that's very true. Do you want to expand a bit more on that?
Each is kind of one form of it. Ethos, establishing his credibility. Logos, using logic of the irony. And pathos, kind of creating a feeling with the contrast of the bad thing and the good thing that was about to become.
Okay. So if you look at the classes, you can see like how the parents, interact with the students, and usually the parents just sit together with the kids and try to read together with them, and that can also help, improve the class quality. But after the first class, usually the parents will leave the kids alone with the teachers, and that's we work on together with certain kind of material and certain books, and follow the critical reading and writing level 1 and to level 10, and then we have like the test focus on each student's different level, and we give this different material based on their response. For example, they have the same courses at the same time, but their homework will be different. is very different from, like the normal school classes. They give the same thing and everything same. So that's how we focus on every student's, the special part and what is the different part for their learning path. So this is like a common concern that I would like to talk a little bit more. And if you can read it, you can see like this is some parents' comments because they are Chinese parents. They send me the question directly in Chinese, so I didn't translate it into English. Sorry about that. And I will do the translation right now. So the biggest concern is how can I make sure my kids can still develop their social skill? Okay, social skill. This is kind of like really a big concern for most of parents, I would say. So how can they get social skill when they got quarantined at home, stayed at home? And I would say actually how it really depends on how you define a social skill, how you define a social skill. So for example, okay, thank you Z. For example, if you really think a social skill is something like you think about it as like communicate with other people, and I would say that skill will definitely gonna develop after they growing up or when they are growing up. So you may feel like kind of like disagree with me, but let me tell you something. What is the hardest part for social skill? I would say two parts. The first part is the social skill with parents. How you interact with your parents, how you interact with your kids. What is the parents and the kids relationship? And actually, that's the top one challenging topic for most of the parents, especially when they get into the teenager. So I would say build up a good bonding at this age and a great develop their social skill with parents. This is the priority for me, and I think this is also the biggest challenge for most of parents. So I think we should focus that part for now, and this is a great opportunity for you because you guys quarantined at home together, right? So we definitely should develop that skill. This is the social skill. So the other social skill, I would say, even for a lot of adults, right? So the biggest challenge is like how to peacefully get along with ourselves. And you can tell, like quarantine time, a lot of people go nuts, right? Why? Because they can't really stay with themselves alone, right? So they feel lonely. They don't know how to peacefully coexist with them, with their inner heart. They can't find inner peace. That's the same thing. For a lot of kids, we need to let them to know how to deal with themselves, how to peacefully and coexist with themselves, and how to find the inner peace even they're not in the crowd, even they're not being along with someone else, right? So developing these two social skill, I would say this kind of like two social emotion skill is very important. If the kids have this two social emotional skill well developed, and I would say I'm never worried about if they're gonna go back to the schools and have problem with their friends. I don't worry about that at all because I feel like interacting with other people with crowds, that's easiest part. If you go back to see the social skill and the emotional skill from the different level. Yeah. The second common sense that from my students' parents, they ask me like, oh, will my kids have mental problem if they have no friends, to play with? And I would say no, because at the early stage, especially when they are less than high school, I would say younger than high school, they are like middle school, they're like elementary school, or they're kindergarten. All they need is you, right? Starting from middle school, maybe their teenager or pre-teenager period are gonna start, and maybe they don't want to hang out with parents. But why don't we just to try to let them enjoy being with the parents, being with us? And then you can say like the kids don't really have mental problem. I would say most kids have mental problem first because they don't really have good relationship with their parents, right? Second, because they just don't know who to talk to and they don't have the connection with their parents. So I would say spend more time with the kids. I mean, seriously, spend more time doesn't mean like you just sit next to them, play your own phone, right? Spend time with them. That means you just make eye contact, make a real conversation, and do not think they're silly or they're like kind of like naive, and try to figure out what they're thinking and to try to answer the question in the serious way. Yeah, because this is like something I realized that with my own kids as well. I'm a very busy working mom, and when I get along with my kids, I realize that sometimes they have same problem, like super hyper, cannot control, they don't really sit on for a while, and you have to really repeat it several of your orders several times so you can wash your hand, sleep, and I realize that when you build up the connection with your kids, you don't need to really push them to do things. So my kids listen to me, okay, only listen to me. It's just because I get the connection. So when my parents, when the dad, cannot tell him to do something, then I will show up, then I would just say once and then he will do it. And that's not because I'm scary or I'm like really bossy. It's because I build up the foundation. I build up the connection with the kids. So I would say it would be way easier for you to communicate with them after they grow up. And the third one is the students, parents also ask me, like, I'm worried if my kids fall in love with studying at home and they don't want to go back to school later. I mean, this can be a concern, I would say. At least for my kids, I realized that he would like to stay more at home. And when I ask him like, "Oh, do you want to go back to school?" He's like, "Not really." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because it's not fun. There's more things to do at home." So kids feel like the school is not fun. Okay, there must be reason because some kids are really advanced, right? They feel like school is boring because everything is so easy. And sometimes the kids feel like they cannot control their time. They have to learn a subject that they don't like. Kind of like I heard some parents ask me, "Is that true or not?" They say school kind of like the place killed the kids' talent. I was like, oh, it's just different concept, different philosophy, right? Education philosophy. But I would say, if you build up a good environment for your kids, and homeschooling will definitely be a great choice because I have a lot of students there doing the homeschooling all the way to finish high school, and then they get into college. They're perfect kids. They're so amazing. They have a charming personality. They're so competitive. They're so outstanding. So I don't see any disadvantages of homeschooling as long as the parents know what to do. Another concern is like how to ensure the quality of studying at home. Again, this is very challenging for parents because you need to know all the resources and you need to maybe ask some education consultant, for example, me. I would like to have a conversation with you. You can develop a plan for your kids together. So as long as the schedule fixed, the next challenging part is how to follow the schedule. To be honest, I would say a lot of parents complain about their kids' time management skill, right? But when I give the plan to the parents, I say, yeah, follow the plan, what time to do this and that. I give the checklist, and then they realize that they can't really follow. So how can you expect your kids who is like younger than you, like less mature than you, follow strictly with the routine, with the schedule, when you as an adult cannot really follow the routine? That's kind of like ironical. So that's why. So when I ask my kids to get up early, I have to get up early. I have to get up early so I can make sure he will wake up early with me. If I stay late, I can't really ask them to sleep early, right? So this is kind of like hard at the beginning, but as long as you build up the routine, you build up the habit, and I think way easier. Yeah. So now my kids is 5 year old and I can leave him alone for at least 2 hours sometimes, or even three, and he can play Lego and read books and doing like the epic and then play a little bit games. And after that, he get out home or he get out the courtyard and he just tell me he's done. He finished his task. So at least give them 3 tasks at a time so they know what to do 1, 2, 3. Try to start with 2 or 3, but do not give them like one thing at a time. So every time they finish, they ask you, "Hey, what's next?" So you have to tell them another one. That's not really good for them to build up the self-discipline habit. So you really have to tell them like at least 3 things to do, and then you can stay with them, monitor them, and eventually they can be alone, stay alone, and do their own things. That would be amazing. So think about it. When I having my class with my students, my kids is playing by himself in another room, and I think that feeling is like wonderful, right? But you really have to work a lot at the beginning. Last but not least, many people ask me how to make the right choice and help children to do the study plan. Like what I mentioned, if you have the experience or you have many kids, you can try with your first child and then you can do some adjustment for the second one and until you get a lot of experience, right? Or you can talk to some education consulting places or advisors, and then you can get some like plan together, and then you can always modify and adjust your plan accordingly, when you try to work with our kids. So I truly believe every parent is the best teacher for their kids because you know the personality, you know the weak point, you know what they like, what they doesn't like, right? So that's the perfect teacher, a qualified teacher. Yeah. So that's why when we teach students, I see a lot of parents, they communicate with me a lot to tell me about what I need to pay attention. Some kids, the parents told me, I don't criticize them, okay? Encourage them more because my kids like this and like that, you know? So that means like every parents, they are the best teacher for their kids. So as long as you want to spend a little bit time, and I think things will be way easier. Yeah, that's my suggestion. So I think it's right now it's come to the Q&A section, right? Okay. So we offer like 3 different kind of programs to support if you decided to go homeschooling or go for online resources according to my suggestion, or you can do some like enrichment program with us. We offer critical reading and writing starting from level 1 to level 4. Basically, the student can grow with us starting from 3rd grade until 10th grade. So after 10th grade, I'm so glad to say that they don't need to any test prep classes anymore because they will get a like really high score in their reading and writing because that's called a foundation, right? We also call it academic support program. We offer like customized for students. It's like one-on-one academic coach and also professional distance learning support. And also we would like to give support to teachers. So if you have hired any teachers or you want to be a teacher, you need some like a distance learning support or experience share or training, you are welcome to contact us. And the third one we offer is some online events. We offer many free seminars almost every week. Next week we're going to talk about SAT Common Trap and what is the best way to prepare your SAT. And we also going to talk about how to optimize the distant learning for the 9th to 12th grade students because I'm a counselor at the same time. So I know what the students in the high school now is facing. And I just met one of my students. He told me he didn't do anything for this summer, which is 10th grade summer. Just kind of like, sad. I think finding the, right thing for them to do. And to be honest, even you stay home, there's so many online resources for you to do. Not only you have to go back to school to do things, right? And the parents ask me, oh, we quarantine at home. There's a lot of virus. We can't do volunteer. We can't really go to summer camp. So we can do nothing. No, when most students don't do anything, you do a little bit, you will stand out. So listen to my next seminar. You will figure out how and why. All right. So if you have any question, you can ask me, and we're going to have a short Q&A session. And thank you for participating. And let's go for the first question. Okay. So first question, how do you get the children to stay motivated to learn, especially when it's very distracting at home? Well, that's a very great question. So first, I want to ask you a question. Why at home is very distracting? Because if we want these kids to stay focused, you really have to provide environment with less distraction. For example, can you offer one room for study only instead of staying in the kitchen or living room? Okay. Second, could you please move your TV to the garage? There's no TV option. Maybe that would be less distracted, right? So there's so many ways to think about it. So you really have to work together with your children to get a less distracting environment to help them to stay focused. And I would say adult the same thing, right? I have parents told me like, oh, I really want to send my kids back to school because, I want to watch my Korean drama. I don't really have time to take care of them. Well, this is one situation. So if you cannot stay motivated, you really cannot ask your kids to stay motivated, right? Okay, just give you like a example. Maybe it's not the right situation, but it just kind of like one of the conversation with one of my parents yesterday, student parents yesterday. Another question is, are you saying that a public school can file a affidavit as a private school? No, the public school cannot file a private school, but you can file a private school. Public school and a private school, that's 2 different systems. So, but if you want to fund a private school, and we can talk a little bit more after class, and you can always call me and I give you a more specific answer. Another one asked me, I have twin girls going into 3rd grade. Both have different learning style. How do I do just to both? Well, this is kind of like one of common issue for a lot of like brother sisters, their age so close to each other. And then my suggestion is you really have to, group them at a certain time and also separate them with a different practice sheet. For example, this is one of the insight maybe you can learn, share, or maybe give you a little bit like, inspiration. We had one group class, and that group class is what I call critical reading and writing. So we have 6 to 12 students together in one small group class. For younger, we have 6. The older kids, we have 12. So they're having the same class, teacher teaching about the same concept, same reading material, same analysis. However, after class finish, we offer students different accounts. So every student have their own account, and their practice will be way different. Okay, so that's one of the way you can separate the, maybe one is more advanced, one is like slower, one is fast learner. It really depends on situation. But when you want to do some certain kind of like, concept teaching, or some storytelling, you can put them together. So that means you have some shared moment, and you also have like different, practice based on their different learning style. Okay. So I have another question from the private message, and asking me, um, what is the age group like your online classes focus on? Yeah, our age group starting from kindergarten to 12th grade. So 7EDU start from test prep long time ago. And everybody know us because we're so good in the test prep. We got many students get a high score in SAT, ACT, and APs. And we got a lot of students getting to the top schools. And many parents ask us if we can offer some foundation courses, and to develop their foundation. So in the future, they will be more ready. And that's how we develop the middle school classes and the lower school classes. And because we have very experienced online teachers, that's why when the pandemic started, and many parents asked us to offer even lower grade classes. And that's how we started from the kindergarten to 12th now. And my son and all of my son's friends joined the lower grade, and we grouped together. And pretty much I'm going to do the homeschooling for the fall, and I can share with you more experience for the challenging part of the homeschooling, because I have a lot of students they do the homeschooling, but myself, this is the first time. So I would like to use their experience and also get on my own experience, and looking forward to share with everybody more in the future. Another question, do you have any other times for the online courses? We're in the East Coast. Yes, our courses have a different time slot, so you definitely can check us out to see what is the time and what is the best time fit you. And also we welcome and we're open to parents to group by themselves. So we have a lot of parents in the middle of the in the middle of the U.S. or in Canada in the East Coast. They group several kids together to have the class together. So this is one of the option as well. And welcome to talk to us for more information. All right. Okay. So thank you guys for joining my seminar today. And okay, we have also another last question. Hi, Linda. Hi, Linda. You can talk now. Okay. So. Okay. I think it's like somebody click the raising hand. So it seems like the question. Okay. If you have any question, call us. Our phone number is 408-384-2690. Or you can always scan the QR code on the WeChat. Or you can visit our website, www.7edu.org, or email us info@7edu.org. All right. So thank you so much. Do you have the options to support homeschooling full-time? Yes, we have option to support homeschooling full-time. Actually, we currently have students doing the full-time with us. We call it full support academic programs. So if you want to know more, you can always contact us for more information. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And we would like to offer more and more useful information through the webinar, and welcome to follow us on the YouTube and email us. If you missed the most of the today's seminar, you can always find us on the YouTube. We will have the replay there. Yeah, we will send the record like on the YouTube. So please follow us on the YouTube. Okay, Z, can you please show the YouTube channel? Yes, it's on the first page. We want to show everybody our YouTube channel. Yes. Okay. So please follow us on the YouTube channel and a Facebook and a WeChat official account. All right. Okay. Thank you guys for participating, and please email us if you have any question or call us. And I'm June, and thank you so much for your support. And I hope every parents can work together with their kids, and we're gonna go through this for sure. Okay. Stay tough and stay positive. Bye.